We are live now. Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tonight is the program for Shahadat of Imam Muhammad Naqi A.S. We will be commemorating tonight's program starting with Quran by Brother Bakr Jafri. Bismillah.
But Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajjal faraj.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل
على Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajjal faraj. Jazakallah, Brother Bakr, for a beautiful recitation. May Allah fulfill all your hajats and keep your families safe. Now I would like to request Brother Hussain Jafri uncle to please initiate and recite Salam and Marsiya. Bismillah.
بلند صلوات.
اللهم
صل على محمد وعلى
محمد وجل فرج.
کچھ سلام کے انشاءاللہ کچھ بند پھر مرثیے کا امام محمد تقی جواد علیہ السلام کا انشاءاللہ.
بسم اللہ.
بولی زینب اٹھو امداد کو آؤ عباس ذبح ہوتا ہے میرا بھائی کو بچاؤ عباس بولی زینب اٹھو سر تو شاہ کا اب سجدے خالق میں جھکا سر تو شاہ کا اب سجدے خالق میں جھکا ہاتھ سے شمر کے خنجر کو چھڑاؤ عباس بولی زینب اٹھو اب سکینہ پہ یتیمی کا ستم ٹوٹ گیا اب سکینہ پہ یتیمی کا ستم ٹوٹ گیا اب ترس کھاؤ کلیجے سے لگاؤ عباس بولی زینب اٹھو آگ خیموں میں لگانے چلے آئے ہیں عدو آگ خیمے میں لگانے چلے آئے ہیں عدو غش میں ہے عابدے بیمار جگاؤ عباس بولی زینب اٹھو جو ردا حضرت زہرا کی تھی میرے سر پر جو ردا حضرت زہرا کی تھی میرے سر پر وہ ردا شمر نے چھینی ہے دلاؤ عباس بولی زینب اٹھو
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجہم. ماشاء اللہ ماشاء اللہ.
مومنین آپ سب لوگوں سے معروضہ ہے ایک سورہ فاتحہ جملہ مومنین اور مومنات کے ارواح کے لیے پڑھ کے بخش دیجیے. بسم اللہ.
بسم اللہ. الحمدللہ.
بارہ دیگر صلوات. اللہم صلی اللہ محمد وآل محمد. ابن رضا بھی سالک راہ رضا رہا سجادہ رسول پہ شگل دعا رہا ہر رنج میں زباں پہ شکر خدا رہا گنتی کے دوزدار تھے دشمن ہزار گنتی کے دوزدار تھے دشمن ہزار ہاں بدخواہ کتنے اس ہمارے مرتضیٰ کے تھے تھا ایک چراغ سینکڑوں جھونکے ہوا تھا ایک چراغ سینکڑوں جھونکے ہوا کے تھے لعنت خدا کی متسم نابکار پر پہنچا پیام چھوڑیے گھر آئیے ادھر در پیشا پھر ہوا بغداد کا سفر پر اس سفر نے منزل آخر کی دی پر اس سفر نے منزل آخر کی دی خبر مظلوم کا یہ کوچ وطن سے اخیر تھا مشتاق کنج قبر کے وہ گوشگیر مشتاق کنج قبر کا وہ گوشگیر تھا ہمراہ ام فضل بھی تھی مرید عذاب یسرف سے جانے کی تھی خوشی اس کو بے حساب اس کا چچا تھا متسم اے خانم خراب بغداد میں پہنچ گئے شاہ فلک بغداد میں پہنچ گئے شاہ فلک جناب توخیر ظاہری تھی بہت بے وفا نے کی پر فکر قتل شاہ اس اہل جفا پر فکر قتل شاہ اس اہل جفا نے کی یہ بے مروتی یہ ستم یہ غضب یہ خیر وہ بے کسی امام کی وہ دور اپنا شہر دیکھے تو اہل دل خلش خار باغ در انگور رازقی میں دیا فاقہ کش انگور رازقی میں دیا فاقہ کش کو زہر لی کر بٹے علی ولی کو پکار کے آزائے پاک سوچ گئے دل فگار آزائے پاک سوچ گئے دل فگار کے کملا کے رہ گیا گلے تار بوتراب کا مرجھا یا نونہال رسالت مآب کا دیکھا جوان مرگ نے رنگ انقلاب کا وہ موت بے کسی وہ مرنا شباب وہ موت بے کسی کی وہ مرنا شباب کا کیوں پیر چرخ جائے تعصب ہے یہ نہیں کم سن کوئی اماموں میں ایسا ہوا کم سن کوئی اماموں میں ایسا ہوا نہیں نیلا یا اس مسافر دار السلام کو بر آئے دل کفن جو پنایا امام کو تابوت میں لٹا کے شہقا سوام کو پرسا دیا علی کو رسول انام پرسا دیا علی کو رسول انام کو نالے طواف کرتے تھے عرش مجید کا ماتم کیا اٹھا کے جنازہ شہید ماتم کیا اٹھا کے جنازہ شہید کا جس جا کی قبر موسی کاظم فلک وقار پہلو میں اس لحد کے خدا دوسرا مزار پوشیدہ زیر خاک ہوا نور کردگاہ حسرت پکارتی تھی کہ عشان کے حسرت پکارتی تھی کہ عشان کے نثار تاخیر دفن سے بھی شرف آشکار ہے یہ وارث حسین غریب الدیار یہ وارث حسین غریب الدیار ہے اللہم صلی اللہ محمد
صلی اللہ محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجہم
اللہم صلی اللہ محمد جزاک اللہ آپ
حسین
سب لوگوں کا شکریہ کہ مجھے یہ عزت دی آپ لوگ کے میں شریک ہو سکی امام کے شہادت کی مجلس میں تھینک یو اظہر بھائی تھینک یو سجاد بھائی جزاک اللہ تھینک یو
حسین انکل تھینک یو سو مچ بہت شکریہ آپ کا we all greatly respect you on behalf of the Moment Center of Dallas and everybody at Moment. I'd like to thank you for your relentless effort for Moment and always being a great support and so much of work done by you. May Allah give you long life, sehat, keep always you happy with your whole family. And on behalf of Moment again, thank you so much, Hussain Uncle, for giving the Pursa at this Majlis of our Imam.
Thank you.
Now, with no further delay, before I request our Sheikh Muhammad Hasnain to join us, I would like to request Dua Sehat for our friend, brother, and cousin, nephew of Jari Jafri Ahmed Zaidi. He has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and has been taken to the hospital for further evaluation. We request for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqqi 14 masumeen and Bimari Karbala to give him full recovery and shifa soon as possible. And please keep everyone everywhere, all mu'mineen in your dua, so we can all be with full sihat and cross this pandemic with inshallah and be in our Ahl Bait's lashkar. Now, with no further delay, I would like to thank on behalf of Momin, DFW, Sheikh Muhammad Hasnain for giving us the opportunity and time to commemorate the Shahadat of Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam, and thank Sheikh for joining us from Toronto. He is currently the administrator at Sheikh Aqib Jafri's school, and he leads that school with great tribute. Again, Sheikh, thank you so much for joining us. And with no further delay, Bismillah, Sheikh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفدا ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك اللهم لعن الإصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله اللهم لعنهم جميعا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد فقد قال أبو جعفر الثاني إمام الجواد عليه السلام من أصغى إلى ناطق فقد أبده فإن كان الناطق عن الله فقد عبد الله وإن كان الناطق ينطق عن لسان إبليس فقد عبد إبليس. Recite loud salawat. اللهم صل على
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم.
First of all, I am thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us all the opportunity in this difficult time of this pandemic of COVID-19 that we virtually come together and commemorate the martyrdom anniversary of our beloved Imam, Imam Muhammad Taqi al-Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and the blessing that inshallah this small zikr of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and specifically Imam Jawad alayhi salam will help us to increase our ma'rifah and understanding about his personality and inshallah help us to act upon the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and specifically Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam and count us, all of us, among the followers and the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam. Secondly, I would like to convey my condolence to the Imam of our time, Imam Zamana Ajjallahu Ta'ala Fazl Sharif, on the martyrdom anniversary of his great grandfather, Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that in this Majlis of the dhikr of Imam Jawad, we hope that the blessings and the bounties of Allah and the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially Imam Zamana Ajjallahu Ta'ala Fazl Sharif, will be with us so that we could able to learn from the teachings and the seerah of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam and inshallah could able to follow his teaching in the best possible manner inshallah ta'ala. With this hope that inshallah, whatever we say in this majlis and whatever we listen in this majlis, the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His awliya should be with us. Recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم.
Brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He has created us with a specific purpose, as He has mentioned in His book, that I have not created this world abasan, without any purpose. So in the Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has clearly mentioned that He has created everything in this world for the human being, but He has created the human being for Himself. Now, what is the purpose of our life? In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. The purpose of our creation, for which we are created in this world, is that we have to become the true abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to perform that servitude of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best possible manner. Now, to reach that goal and to guide the humanity towards that direction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has paved that way of Sirat Mustaqim for us. And that Sirat Mustaqim, on one hand, as far as the theory is concerned, in the form of constitution, it is there in the form of a book, that is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran Kareem. On the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has presented examples and the role models for us in the form of Anbiya, Awliya, and Aima alayhimus salam. So on one hand, we have Quran in the form of the constitution, and on the other hand, we have the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who practically teach us that how to actualize the teaching of Quran in a day-to-day life. And on the other hand, it will be a lesson for the human being so that they can see the role models in front of them, and they cannot say later on that whatever mentioned in the holy book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not practical for us as a human being. We could not able to act upon those teachings. Now these role models are there in front of us. They are not just role model for me as an individual, but they are the one who are the leaders and the guide for the humanity to take that caravan, to take all these people towards their purpose of their creation, towards their goal for which they are created. So now, by keeping in mind these two most important tools that are there in front of us, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that Inni tarikum fikum al-thaqalain kitab Allah wa itrati ahla bayti. In tamassaktum bihima, these are the two important things that are mentioned by Rasulullah. One is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is Quran. And secondly, the itra and the progeny of Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that are the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And now it is our responsibility in tamassaktum bihima, that we have to connect ourselves with both of them. One is the theory, the other is the practical. One is the way and the sirat that is there, and the personalities are those who are teaching us that how to actualize that thing. If we able to connect ourselves with these two pillars, in that case, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has guaranteed and promised that you will be successful. You will reach your goal of creation, the purpose of your creation. Now, by keeping in mind, it is now our responsibility that we have to connect ourselves with these two things. But unfortunately, we have to accept it and we have to confess that we were not able to do that in the best possible manner. There is so much lacking from our side when it comes towards the Holy Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when it comes to the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We are not performing our duty in the best possible manner. Now, when these type of days and nights come, the martyrdom anniversary of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, the birth anniversary of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, these are the opportunities for us to compensate what is lacking from our side. At least do whatever we can do to find out about the teachings of these personalities and try to make ourselves as much close to these teachings as possible to us. Now, specifically, right now, I'm not talking about the Quran and the things that we should do regarding it, especially come to the seerah and the way of life of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. Brothers and sisters, one important problem that we had right now, when we look at the books of this, which are written in the name of the seerah of prophets and Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, as Shaykh Mutarius rahmatullah alayhi has mentioned in his books and his writing and in his speeches, that they are not the true seerah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. They are giving us different historical fact that happened in the history, but they are not giving us the principles or the way of life which we can apply in our daily life right now, today, in the world that we are living in. What are the principles that we can learn from Ahl Bayt alayhim salam? How we can apply those teachings in our practical life, it is not there. There are random events that are mentioned to us. There are different historical narrations that are given to us, but it is not in a comprehensive way that we can learn from it. Shaykh Mutahir Iswanullah Ta'ala in some of his speeches and writings and articles, he started talking about how to read the seerah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. And alhamdulillah, in the era that we are living in, there is a book that is the collection of the writings of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, which is printed in English and other languages too, in the name of 250 years human being, where we can see that the glimpses of this seerah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam is mentioned there. And I would recommend, especially the youth who are listening to this speech, that try to read these books and articles and the speeches of Ayatollah Khamenei and try to see the seerah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam that is he tried to present to us. Definitely it is the first step towards the seerah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. There is still a long journey, a long way to go, and we have to work on it. We have to do the research on it, so that on one hand, on the macro level, we could understand this 250 years infallible personality that was there in this world, how he has lived in this world, how he has guided his followers to follow his footsteps, and how he has lived with the people who are his opponent and the enemies. All these are quite important lessons for us to learn. First of all, on the macro level, and then we have to come on the micro level and try to read in detail the seerah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, specifically each and every Imam and the Masoom in detail, millimeter by millimeter, each and every step that is taken by the Masoom and it is narrated to us. Each and every hadith that are narrated by the Masumin alayhi salam to us, each of them is important for us. We have to read it. We have to come in a comprehensive way, understand it, and try to find out that how these Masumin alayhi salam has spent their life. What are the principles that we can learn from their seerah? What are the rules that we can study and apply that in our personal life in today's world that we are living in? Now, by keeping in mind all this, we specifically, because tonight is the night of the martyrdom anniversary of Imam Muhammad Taqi al-Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, we try to get acquainted and understand some of the teachings of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam and some of the lessons that we can learn from the seerah of this great personality and the perfect human being, so that inshallah some of the teachings that we are learning, try to apply that. But as I mentioned to you earlier too, that it is just a beginning, it's just a small thing, a small step that we are taking to understand the seerah of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam. but inshallah it will be a starting point for you, and then slowly try to read some of the articles and the books that already available online. Try to read it and try to create a comprehensive understanding regarding the seerah of Masumin alayhi salam, and especially tonight that we are talking about Imam Jawad alayhi salam, towards him, so that we can understand his lessons and teachings and apply that in our personal and the practical life. Before talking about the important teachings that we can learn from the seerah of Imam Jawad alayhi salam, first of all, we have to know some of the basic understanding and knowledge which is important for us to know about importance of Imam Jawad alayhi salam among all the Aimma alayhim salam, the 14 Masums alayhim salam. There is a hadith from Imam Riza alayhi salatu was salam, where he said that kuntu in the Ravi, the narrator is saying that I was kuntu in the Abil Hasan alayhi salam, I was with Imam Riza alayhi salatu was salam, Fajia bi'ibnihi Abi Ja'far. Then I saw his son Abi Ja'far. The kunya of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu was salam, as mentioned in the books of history and the narrations, is Abi Ja'far. And normally he is known as Abi Ja'far al-Thani, to differentiate him from Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. The narrator, he is saying that I was with Imam Rida alayhi salam and I saw Imam Jawad alayhi salam came. He was a young kid at that time. وهو صغير, he was quite young. فقال, at that time Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam has mentioned this in هذا المولود الذي لم يولد مولود أعظم على شيعتنا بركة منه. This is the baby, the baby that is, there is no one more with the barakah and the blessings and the bounties more than him for the Shia than my son Imam Jawad alayhi salam. So the most blessed personality for the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam is the personality of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam. It is a great blessing for us to know about him, to understand his personality, that what type of personality Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam has had, that Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam is mentioning that for the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, he is the most blessed personality on them. His barakah, his blessings is the most for the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Now there can be different reasons for that. Maybe there are few reasons that we had, is that after Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam, there was no more deviation in the mainstream Shia. There was no sect that was created after Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam. So those people who follow Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam after Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam, after that there is no subdivision among the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. It is a great blessing for us. That's why the personality of Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam and then Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam is quite important for us. One important attribute of Imam Jawad alayhi salam, he was the first youngest person who became the Imam at the age of when he was only 9. He was a Sabi, as mentioned in the Riwayat. He was not Balig at the time. That's why there was few people who were confused that how is it possible that a person who is not Balig become the Imam. Definitely afterwards we have Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salatu wassalam, and then Imam Zamana Ajjallahu Ta'ala Fajr Sharif alayhi salatu wassalam, who are the one who become Imam when they were quite young. But the first Imam who take this responsibility of the Imama when he was not Baligh, as far as the physical bulugh age is concerned, was Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam. He was only 9 years old when he became the Imam. And he was the youngest Imam who became martyred. He was only 25 years old when he became martyred. So these are the just few things about Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, his personality and his status among all the Masumin alayhi salatu wassalam. As far as the important responsibilities that was performed by Imam Jawad alayhi salam, which I want to mention today and try to focus on it. so that we can understand the role played by Imam Jawad alayhi salam for the Shia of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. One of the important role, not only theoretically but practically played by Imam Jawad is this thing, that he tried to create the right concept of imama in the eyes of Shia of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, and not only Shia but other people, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims, so that they can understand that what the true imama is, what is the status of imama and the imam in this creation, what are the role that imam has to play in this society. This understanding of the imama, explaining the imama, creating the insight about the imama is specifically started by Imam Riza alayhi salatu wassalam. We have a lot of riwaya in Uyun Akhbar Rida from our beloved Imam Riza alayhi salatu wassalam, where he mentioned about the status of the imama, and he tried to explain that imam is not the socio-political, just the socio-political status, that for example with the democracy and with the voting of the people you can select a person as your imam, as your leader. Imama is not like this. Imama is the divine responsibility, divine status that is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni ja'iluka linnasi imama. That's why Imam Riza alayhi salatu wassalam has mentioned a very beautiful and very comprehensive hadith regarding the Imam and the Imama, where he mentioned that Innal imamata hiya manzilatul anbiya wa irthul awthiya. Innal imamata khilafatullah wa khilafatu Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And then he goes on and on and on. He explained that Imam is the central part among the mu'mineen. He is the pivotal point around whom the people are revolving, and the imama and the walaya is revolving. If imam is not there, then you cannot achieve anything. Imam has mentioned, Imam with the imam, tamamus salati was zakati was siyami wal hajj wal jihad. Everything, every action that you are performing, you can perfect with the help of the imam. This status of the imamah is there. And then he mentioned about the imam too, that al-imam al-anis al-rafiq, al-walid al-shafiq, al-akh al-shaqiq, al-umm al-barratu bil-walad al-saghir. See that how Imam Rida alayhi salatu wassalam is explaining the status of the imam, that who a imam is, what is the role of imam with us, what type of closeness that we should have with the imam. Okay, this was the qualities of Imam Rida alayhi salam. So as I mentioned to you, that Imam Rida alayhi salam has started this journey of trying to create and make the people understand that imama is not a political status like in the materialistic realm that we are doing, that he is not the one who you can select with the help of your votes. It is simply completely something which is divine. And once it is divine, the ilm and the resources and the authority and the guardianship that is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it does not require any specific age. That's why when it comes to the imama of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, Imam Raza alayhi salatu wassalam, from the few years that Imam alayhi salatu wassalam was there, and Imam Jawad alayhi salam was just a baby at the time, Imam Riza alayhi salatu wasalam tried to explain to his companions that he is the next Imam. And when the people start asking him that how is it possible that this young person can become the Imam, Imam Riza alayhi salatu wasalam has explained and give examples from the Quran regarding the prophethood of Prophet Isa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam. He gives the example from the Imama, from the nubuwah of Hazrat Sulaiman ala nabiyina wa salam, when he was a sabi, he was a young boy, when he became the prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through this, he start to explain to the people that understand that imama is something like this. Imama is not a simple thing that you think that is just a political thing and you can select that. That's why there is a hadith in Irshad, where the hadith is from Imam Ali, Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salatu wasalam, Imam Jawad. Imam said that some of the companions came to him, Abi Ja'far Asthani alayhi salatu wasalam, قُلْتُ لَهُ إِنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ فِي حِدَاثَةِ سِنِّكَ. There are people who are talking about your young age, and they are saying that how is it possible that this young boy become the Imam? Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam also gives the example from the Khilafah and the Nubuwah of Hazrat Sulaiman ala Nabi wasalam. He said, "Wa sabiyun," and he was a young guy at the time. So in this way, both theoretically and practically, the way when he become the Imam, Imam alayhi salam asked the Shia that they can come to him, and whatever questions they have, they can ask him, and in that way they're able to satisfy themselves. They reach a state of itmenan and tranquility and peace that yeah, this is the Imam because he has the ilm ladunni. He has the knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is not the one who is getting the knowledge in front of the teacher, but he is the one who was given the knowledge by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can see so many examples and so many questions that are asked by the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They come to the brother of Imam Riza alayhi salam, they ask the question, but they do not get a satisfactory reply from him. But when they go to this young boy and they ask these questions, they get the satisfactory answer from him. And they get satisfied that he is the true Imam. And not only the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, but on the other hand, the enemies of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, specifically Ma'mun. When you look that he was one of the most sharpest, he was the sharpest of the caliphs of Bani Abbas. He was very sharp, he was very smart, he was one of the most educated among the Bani Abbas, uh, progeny of Bani Abbasid Caliphate. He was the most smart person, most educated person among them. When he decided to marry his daughter to Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, a group of people from Abbasid came to him and said to him that what you are doing, you are making mistake here. You are giving your daughter to a boy who is not trained right now, who do not know the Quran and the Sunnah, who do not know about, who do not have the fiqh of the deen. At that time, the reply of the Mamun, despite the fact that he was the opponent and the enemy of Imam Jawad والسلام, but he know that the status of Imam Jawad. So Imam Jawad والسلام, not only give the approval from his followers, but from his enemies and his opponent too. The Mamun said that فَقَالَ الْمَأْمُونَ إِنَّهُ لَأَفْقَهُ مِنْكُمْ. He was talking to Abbasid and he was saying that he is the most learned among you. وَأَعْلَمُ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَسُنَّتِهِ وَأَحْكَامِهِ. He is the most learned about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his Rasul and his Sunnah and his teachings. وَأَقْرَأُ لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ مِنْكُمْ. And he is the best reciter of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala among you. You do not know the Quran, he knows the Quran. Look at the age of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Look at the knowledge. And that's why right after he said that وَأَعْلَمُ بِمُحْكَمِهِ وَمُتَشَابِهِ وَنَاسِخِهِ وَمَنْسُوخِهِ وَظَاهِرِهِ وَبَاطِنِهِ. He is the one who is the most knowledgeable about the muhkamat of the Quran and the mutashabihat of the Quran. The abrogated ayat of the Quran and the abrogator ayat, which are the one who abrogate the other ayat of the Quran. He is the one who knows the zahir and the batin of the Quran. So again, as I mentioned to you, that one of the most important role that is played by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam was this thing, that he proved by his knowledge, by his akhlaq, by his way of treating and socio-political understanding and application of all these things, prove that he is capable of becoming Imam and the leader of Islamic Ummah, not just in this physical realm, but he has the authority and the power in this existential reality. And this is accepted by his followers and also by the enemies of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam too. This is one important role that is played by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam, that he tried to make the people understand the status of the imama and who has the capability and potential to become the imam. What are the qualities and the attributes that we have to look when we are searching for the imam? He practically proved that. This is one thing. Secondly, and this second point that I'm trying to discuss with you is after Imam Rida alayhi salam, one of the most important role played by these three Imam, Imam Jawad, Imam Hadi, and Imam Askari alayhi salatu wasalam, was to prepare the tashayyu for the occultation of Imam Zamana Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif alayhi salatu wasalam, to prepare themselves for the Mahdawiya. We have so many riwayat from Imam Jawad والسلام, in detail where he specifically mentioned. There is a hadith where Abdul Azim Hassani, which is very famous companion of Imam والسلام, who is buried in Ray in Tehran, he asked certain question about Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala for Sharif, and Imam specifically mentioned that huwa thalithu min wuldi. He is the third from my generation. Okay, he's the 12th of the Masum actually that is coming. And then Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, he explained about the what he will do when he return back. And at the end of this hadith, Imam alayhi salam has mentioned this famous part of the hadith which is very common, and maybe you have listened about this part of the hadith where Imam says afdalu a'mali shi'atina intidharul faraj, that the best action for my Shia of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam is to wait for the faraj and the occultation and the reappearance of the Imam Zamana Ajjallahu Ta'ala Faraj Sharif. So he has started this journey of preparing the theoretically preparing the people for the Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala Faraj Sharif, and also trying to create that setup and that organization of the Vikala and all this stuff, so that when the Imam is not there, Imam is in the occultation, this is continued and the connection of the among the Shia of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam is not disconnected. We have other riwayat too from Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam, where he mentioned about the attributes of the followers of Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif. And we explain that what are the qualities that you have to create in yourself so that to become the true follower of Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif. In one of the hadiths, he mentioned that mujidduna fi ta'ati. He mentioned a lot of qualities and the attributes of the followers of Imam Zaman Ajjallahu Ta'ala Faraj Sharif, where he mentioned that the numbers of the true and the first tier of the followers Imam Zamana will be the, according to the Sahaba Ahl Badr, which is 313 people, and they are the true Rajul. They are the true followers of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, Imam Zamana Ta'ala Faraj Sharif, specifically mujidduna fi ta'ati. They are very, they strive their best. They fulfill, they exert their complete energy to follow the orders of their Imam. They are not ready to go away from the orders of Imam, the Imam of their time. They just completely follow the orders of their Imam. Mujidduna fi ta'ati. They are the true followers of their Imam. This is the other important role played by Imam Jawad alayhi salam, that he is preparing for the Mahdawiya, for the personality who was the promised personality for all to make the humanity reach their perfection through Imam Zamana and the Wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these three Imam Jawad, Imam Hadi, and Imam Askari alayhi salam, they prepared the ground for it, so that in the occultation of Imam Zamana Ajjallahu Ta'ala Faraj Sharif, people should be prepared beforehand, and they connect themselves to the Imam, and the tashayyu should flourish at that time. And it should not be the case that the disappear or occultation of the Imam result in the disconnection of the tashayyu, and this movement that was created by Ahl Bayt alayhi salam should go in the right direction. And this was started specifically and clearly by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam. This was the second important task that was performed by Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Third important task that was performed by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam is safeguarding the Shias. Keep them intact. Create the true brotherhood among the Tashayyu and the Shi'ayan Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and connect them in a way that they're able to survive the difficulties and the hardships that they have to face in these last times that they have to go through. This is one of the most important and work and the activity that was performed by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam. And now there was different ways of doing it. Safeguarding the tashayyu, there are different ways. One way of doing was performing this task was this thing, that Imam alayhi salam created the brotherhood among the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. There is a hadith from Imam Jawad alayhi salam. The narrator is saying that قال رحم الله عبدا أحيا ذكرنا. That Imam alayhi salatu wasalam has mentioned that the blessings and the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the abd, on the servant who revive our dhikr and our remembrance. The Ravi says that قلت ما أحياء ذكركم. How we can do the ahya and revive your dhikr and your remembrance. What should we do? That we will count it as those people who are doing the ahya of your dhikr. There is a very interesting thing mentioned by Imam. Imam say, قال التلاقي والتذاكر in the أهل الثبات. That you have to do the mulaqa. You have to go and visit each other. You have to see that what's going on with your brothers. You have to be aware of their situation. Number one, because unless you do not are in touch with each other, how you can support each other? So first step is the mulaqa. And second thing Imam mentioned was tadakur in the Ahl Thabat. Ahl Thabat means those who are steadfast in the path of haqq, in the truth. Tadakur means the reminders, the admonition, the mawida that we have to give to each other. We have to support each other. We have to help each other. In these difficult times, in the era that we are living in this world that we are living in, which is surrounded by the corruption, which are surrounded by the sins, which are surrounded by the taghut, which are surrounded by the shayateen from jinn and ins, it is our responsibility to first of all be connected with the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, be connected with the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We should know the community that we are living in. So for example, suppose that you are living in a specific city in the Western society, it is now your responsibility to be connected with each other, to know that what's going on with your brothers and sisters. You should do the mulaqa. If suppose that in this situation of the COVID right now, it is not possible for us to do the physical mulaqa, it is our responsibility to be in touch with phone or other resources that we have, be in touch with each other. It is our responsibility. And then Imam alayhi salam has mentioned that tadakur, that help each other. If one of us is going in the wrong direction, it is the responsibility of the other brother to guide me, to help me, to support me, to take my hand and say, okay, you are the follower of Ahlul Bayt al-Muslim, where you are heading to? Aina tathabun? What you are doing? We are the follower of Ahlul Bayt al-Muslim. We have to be the ambassador of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt al-Muslim. When the people look at us, they are looking and seeing that, okay, they are the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. If I am doing something wrong, in that case, actually, I am destroying the complete message of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. This is very important for us, that this is the ahya of dhikr that Imam Jawad alayhi salam has mentioned, that we should have to create that brotherhood, that understanding, that trust among each other. This is one thing that Imam alayhi salam has created to safeguard the tashayyu. Number two, Imam alayhi salam there are so many riwayat about taqiyya, about saving your iman in a way that you, on one hand, you are not explicitly mentioning your intentions, and on the other hand, you are close enough, you are connected to each other, and you are continuing that movement. So taqiyya, definitely we don't have time to discuss about that specific topic, but this is also a lot of hadith from Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam where he mentioned this thing about taqiyya and the importance of taqiyya in the eyes of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Definitely, what are the conditions of taqiyya? How to perform it? In which situation? What we have to? Definitely, you have to talk to the ulama and the scholars who can guide you and help you in the situation that you are in. That what is our responsibility? How to perform our responsibility and do that act. Thirdly, one important thing that this is a problem that we are facing right now too. The Imam was quite vocal against the Ghullat, those people who are saying things about Aimar salam, and they are making them, giving them the status which they themselves deny that. And they say that, okay, we are not like this, we are the makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, we are the Khalifa and the Viceroy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the perfect human being, but still we are the makhluk. And if you are taking them above it, then this is the place where Ahlul Bayt was quite vocal against them. Because this is in actually, if you, a person is propagating that thing, actually is destroying the imama and the status of the imam in the eyes of the other people. It is not you are serving the Ahlul Bayt, actually you are destroying the cause of Ahlul Bayt. That's why we have riwayat from Imam Jawad والسلام, where Imam do the lan on the people who say these type of things. And apparently Imam says that they are thinking they are supporting us, but truly speaking, they are destroying our cause. They are not the followers of Ahlul Bayt. They are not the true supporter of Ahlul Bayt. They are doing against the Ahlul Bayt. So we have to be very careful about it. And fourthly, one important thing that Imam did at that time to safeguard the tashayyu was his apparent connection with the Khalifa and the way he tried to show himself towards them, that on one hand he do not feel any type of danger from the Imam and the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, but on the other hand, as I mentioned to you, that it was not the case that Imam was not preparing the ground and making the tashir strong enough so that whenever the right time is there, you have to stand against these taghut, these oppressors. He has to do that. But it was not necessary for him to express it explicitly from the beginning so that they get aware of it and they stop Imam alayhi salatu wasalam in his planning and the plots that Imam alayhi salam was doing against them. So these are the few things that I want to mention and the few important activities that were performed by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam during his time. The way he teach about the imama and the imam. Number two, about the preparing the ground for the Mahdabiyya. And thirdly, safeguarding the Tashayyu with the help of creating the brotherhood among them, teaching them how to do the true taqiyya and saving their iman and not expressing and explicitly mentioning each and everything in front of everybody. He tried to teach them how to behave in front of the caliphs and this whole system of the oppressors, and how to safeguard themselves by keeping themselves in it. And the last thing is about they were vocal against Ghullat, so that in that way, those people who are trying to create misinformation or disinformation about the Imam and the Imam want to correct that thing and do not want to present them to become the representative or spokesperson of the Imam and present incorrect picture of the Imama and the Imam to the people. These are the few things and the teachings that the work that was performed by Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam. Before going to the Masaib and few sentences about the Masaib of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the hadith that I decided in the beginning, I just want to translate that and try to get a small specific message from it, and then inshallah we go towards the end of our majlis. This is a very interesting and comprehensive hadith from Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam has said that man asgha ila natiki. Whoever pay attention towards a speaker, whoever incline towards a speaker, whoever listen to a speaker, faqad abadahu. It is like that he is doing the ibadah of that person. He's become the servitude towards that person. And it's very interesting that sometimes when we listen about the ubudiyah and becoming the abd, we feel that ubudiyah and the ibadah is just related to performing a specific form of ibadah like salah and performing sajda in front of somebody. If we are doing it, it means that we are doing the ibadah of that thing. But when we look at the Quran and the hadith, it is not like this. Ibadah means when you start following somebody, when you start giving importance to somebody, it means that you are doing the ibadah of that person. Here also, Imam is just about listening. Right now, you don't start following him. Imam is saying that if a person pay attention towards a speaker, he is doing the ibadah of that speaker. Now there are two possibilities about that speaker. فَإِنْ كَانَ النَّاطِقُ عَنِ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ عَبَدَ اللَّهِ. If this person is talking on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is the spokesperson of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What he is saying are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that case, indirectly, that listener is doing the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Vice versa. وَإِنْ كَانَ النَّاطِقُ يَنْتِقُ عَنْ لِسَانِ إِبْلِيسِ فَقَدْ عَبَدَ إِبْلِيسِ. But if, na'udhu billah, this speaker, the person who is talking to you, the person whom you are listening to, is talking from the lisan of Iblis, anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the word of shaitan, the word of ta'qud. فَقَدْ عَبَدَ إِبْلِيسِ. In that case, he is doing the ibadah of Iblis. Brothers and sisters, we have to be very careful. The thing that is going on right now in the societies, not only the individual speakers, but different thought process, different world views that are there in front of us. If anything that is coming, the source is not the divine source, we should be very careful about it. If I am expert enough that I can analyze it and I can critique it, that's something different. But a layman like me who could not do that, we have to be very careful that what I am doing. I have to be very careful about my sources, because all these are the one who are giving us the input, who are creating ourselves, who are the one who is creating our soul. This is the one who is the food for our spirit, and we have to be very careful about it. فَلْيَنْظُرُ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَى طَعَامِهِ. It is not just talking about the ta'am, the physical ta'am, but all the input that we are taking and giving to our ruh is also important for us. And we have to be very careful. And this is one of the important lessons that we can learn from the hadith of Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, that the speaker that we are listening to, what is the source of that knowledge, where he's getting from. If it is the source of Quran and Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, then we are doing the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And na'udhu billah, if we are not doing it, it means that we are doing the ibadah of the Iblis or the Taghut, and we have to be careful about it. May we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these nights and days which belongs to the Imam Jawad alayhi salatu wassalam, that he should give us the tawfiq to learn the lessons from the teachings of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, and inshallah actualize that in our personal and collective life, inshallah ta'ala. Please recite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. खुलासा जो आज हमने गुफ्तगू की इमाम जवाद अलैहिस्सलाम के हवाले से, उसका खुलासा ये है कि इमाम अलैहिस्सलाम ने अपनी पूरी ज़िंदगी के अंदर जो एक जवानी के अंदर शहादत की मौत नसीब हुई मेरे मौला को, 25 साल के अंदर अपनी ज़िम्मेदारी को बेतरीके अहसन अंजाम दी। اور 16 سال کی اس امامت کے دوران خود مسئلہ امامت کو، مسئلہ مہدویت کو اور تشیع کے مقام اور منزلت کو، ان کو سیف گارڈ کرنے کے اعتبار سے جو ذمہ داریاں تھی اس کو بطور احسن انجام دیا امام علیہ السلام نے۔ اور یہی وجہ تھی کہ میرے مولا کا یہ کردار دشمنان اہل بیت علیہ السلام کو، بالخصوص بنی عباس کو نہیں بھایا، اور یہ عظیم ہستی ان کی راہ کے اندر ایک رکاوٹ بنتے رہے، ان کے اہداف کے اندر ایک رکاوٹ بنتے رہے۔ اور جس طرح سے بقیہ ائمہ علیہ السلام کو ان ظالموں نے شہید کر کے اپنے راہ سے ہٹا دیا ظاہری طور پر، جسمانی طور پر، اور یہ سمجھتے رہے کہ وہ کامیاب ہو گئے، کہ یقیناً کامیاب نہیں ہوئے۔ یہ لوگ قرآن کریم کی آیت کے مطابق کہ یہ اپنی پھوکوں سے ان چراغوں کو بجھانا چاہتے ہیں، لیکن ایسا نہیں ہو سکتا۔ خداوند تعالیٰ اپنے چراغ کو جلاتا رہے گا اور یہ دین اپنے کمال تک پہنچے گا انہی ہستیوں کے آخری فرزند امام زمانہ عجل اللہ تعالیٰ فجر شریف کے ہاتھوں سے انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ۔ لیکن بالآخر امام علیہ السلام کو بعض روایات کے مطابق خود معتصم مستقیماً، اور بعض روایات کے مطابق ان کی زوجہ کے جو خود مامون کی بیٹی تھی ام فضل، ان کے ذریعے سے میرے آقا و مولا کو زہر دیا گیا، اور یہ ہستی ذلقعد کی آخری تاریخ کو شہادت کے جام کو نوش کرتی ہے اور اس دنیا سے رخصت ہو جاتی ہے۔ جب انسان کسی معصوم اور جوان معصوم کی شہادت کا ذکر سنتا ہے، شہادت کا ذکر کرتا ہے، تو ایک ہستی کی یاد مجھے اور آپ کو بہت ستاتی ہے، مجھے اور آپ کو بہت زیادہ یاد آتی ہے۔ شاید میرے آقا امام جواد علیہ السلام بھی اس بات کو پسند کریں کہ ہم ان کی شہادت کی مجلس کے موقع پر ان کی جدہ حضرت فاطمہ الزہرا کو یاد کریں، وہ کہ جو ائمہ علیہ السلام کی مادر تھی، وہ کہ جو ام الائمہ تھی۔ 18 سال کی عمر میں میری بیوی یہ مصائب پڑھتی ہوئی نظر آتی ہے۔ صبت علی مصائب لو انہا صبت علی الایام سرن لیا بابا آپ کے بعد وہ مصائب مجھ پہ ٹوٹے جو اگر روشن دنوں میں پڑھتے تو تاریک راتوں میں بدل جاتے۔ مجھے نہیں معلوم امت نے ان چند دنوں میں میری بیوی کے ساتھ کیا یہاں تک کہ روایت یہ کہتی ہے ایک بار مدینے کے لوگ امام علی کی خدمت میں آتے ہیں، کہتے ہیں مولا فاطمہ سلام اللہ علیہ سے کہے کہ یا دن میں رویا کرے یا رات میں رویا کرے، آئے میرا مولا کیا کرے۔ بیوی کے لیے ایک حسن کا ایک گھر بنایا گیا جہاں پہ بیوی مدینے سے باہر جا کے گریا کرتی تھی، لیکن روایت کا جملہ یہ ہے کہ ایک بار میرا مولا نماز ظہر پڑھ کے مسجد سے پلٹ کے واپس آ رہا تھا، دیکھا کچھ کنیزیں دوڑتی بھی امام کی جانب بڑھتی جا رہی ہے۔ مولا نے پوچھا کیا ہو گیا ہے، تمہارے چہرے کا رنگ کیوں اڑ گیا؟ کہا یا علی جائیے آپ کی چچا زاد بہن فاطمہ کو پا لیجئے، لیکن ہمیں امید نہیں ہے آپ انہیں پائیں گے، آپ ان سے گفتگو کر پائیں گے۔ راوی کہتا ہے کہ میرے مولانا نے یہ سنا، ایک بار علی دوڑتے ہوئے اپنے گھر کی جانب بڑھے، گھر میں داخل ہوئے، امامے کو سر سے اتارا، ابا کو اتارا، ایک بار میری بیوی کی جانب بڑھے، فاطمہ کے سر کو علی نے اپنی گود میں لیا، اور روایت کا جملہ یہ ہے، کہا یا زہرا
یا بنت محمد المصطفیٰ، لیکن میری بیوی کا جواب نہیں آیا. کہا یا ابنت من صلی بالملائکۃ السماء، میری بیوی کا جواب نہیں آیا. ارے اب علی کے دل میں ہمت نہیں تھی. ایک بار میرا مولا کہتا ہے یا فاطمہ کلمینی فانا ابن ام کا علی. فاطمہ علی آئے. روایت کا جملہ یہ ہے، میری بیوی نے آنکھوں کو کھولا، وَنَظَرَتْ إِلَيْهِ، میرے مولا کی طرف نگاہ کی، وَبَقَاتْ، بیوی نے گریہ کرنا شروع کیا، میرے مولا نے گریہ کرنا شروع کیا. ارے فاطمہ نے اپنی آخری وصیتیں کر دی. یہاں تک ایک موقع ایسا آیا کہ علی سے علی کا مشکل کشا جدا ہو گیا. ارے جو سب کا مشکل کشا تھا اس کا مشکل کشا جدا ہو گیا. انا للہ و انا الیہ راجعون. رضا بقضائہ و تسلیم لا يقول یا ارحم الراحمین.
لعنت اللہ قوم الظالمین. اب میں میر ظہیر کو ریکویسٹ
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین مولا تقی مولا تقی مولا تقی مولا تقی ہے تقی ہے تقی ہے تقی ہے تقی. سادات نے ماتم کا پھر فرش بچھایا ہے. سادات نے ماتم کا پھر فرش بچھایا ہے. غم مولا تقی تیرا غم مولا تقی تیرا کائنات پہ چھایا ہے. سادات نے ماتم کا پھر فرش بچھایا
ہے.
سادات نے ماتم کا
فرش بچھایا ہے.
اے موت سم باللہ لعنت ہو سدا تجھ پہ. اے موت سم باللہ لعنت ہو سدا تجھ پہ. عصمت کا دیا تو نے عصمت کا دیا تو نے دھوکے سے بلایا ہے. سادات ماتم کا پھر
فرش بچھایا ہے. سادات ماتم کا پھر فرش بچھایا ہے.
پردیس میں تھے تنہا افسوس تقی مولا. پردیس میں تھے تنہا افسوس تقی مولا. جب وقت شہادت کا جب وقت شہادت کا مظلوم پہ آیا ہے. سادات ماتم
کا پھر فرش بچھایا ہے.
سادات نے ماتم
کا پھر فرش بچھایا ہے.
زندہ میں رو رو کے کہتے تھے تقی مولا. زندان میں رو رو کے کہتے تھے تقی مولا. عابد کی اسیری نے اے عابد کی اسیری مجھے رو رو رلایا ہے. مہمات کا پھر فرش
بچھایا
ہے
ہے
سادات نے ماتم
ہم
کا
کا پھر فرش بچھایا ہے
یسرب سے تخیروں کے بغداد میں آتے ہیں یسرب سے نقیر ہوتے بغداد میں آتے ہیں مولا کا جنازہ یوں مولا کا جنازہ یوں مولا نے پڑھایا ہے سادات نے ماتم کا پھر
فرش
آیا
بچھایا ہے
سادات نے ماتم
ہم کا
پھر فرش
فرش
چھایا
بچھایا
ہے
ہے
غم مولا تقی تیرا غم مولا تقی تیرا کائنات پہ چھایا ہے یا حسین یا حسین
حسین
یا
یا
حسین
حسین
یا
حسین
حسین یا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Jazakallah, Brother Zahid. Before I conclude the program with Ziyarat, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sheikh Muhammad Hasnain for accepting our invitation and giving us the opportunity to benefit from his knowledge and experience. Thank you very much, Sheikh. And inshallah, we will be in touch with you for our future programs as well. Mu'mineen mutawajjih ziyarat. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس وعنيس النفوس السلام عليك يا مدفون بعرض طوس راضي بالقدر والقضاء علي بن موسى الرزا ورحمة الله وبركاته والسلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان الأمان من فتنة الزمان السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وزحورك ورحمة الله وبركاته اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. All the viewers who joined us, that concludes our program for tonight and for this weekend. Inshallah, we'll see you next week with our regular weekly scheduled programs, with Thursday night program with Najul Balagha. Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz.